Could rich cities in the Gulf soon look very different because of the war? It's been pretty disconcerting for this region since the war started. The Gulf is an area of the Middle East that's just not used to conflict. It sees itself as very isolated from conflict elsewhere in the Middle East. But since the war started, it's been under attack from Iranian drones and missiles. The UAE especially has been particularly hard hit. But this is a part of the Middle East that has grown used to stability. It's the reason why these skyscrapers are behind me, because they've been able to build without that conflict. They've been able to grow wealthy as a result. And they've been able to host big events such as the World Cup. So 4 years ago, this is a mascot from the World Cup that was held here in Qatar. And these big events have isolated the region, if you like, from the wider conflict. But all of that has changed since the war has started. None of all of this behind me would be possible without heavy infrastructure, technology, and especially energy infrastructure. And one of the most important things is desalination. So the sea is over there. Desalination plants converting seawater into drinking water. Trump has threatened to hit desalination plants in Iran, and we've seen in the last few weeks certainly that when Iran gets hit, Iran then hits the Gulf. We saw a desalination plant in Kuwait get hit earlier in March. There's been a liquefied natural gas plant that's also been hit. 90% of drinking water across the region comes from desalinated water. The skyscrapers here are built by people who rely on that water. These parks would not exist without water that's converted from seawater into fresh water. And what better example are these pipes. Now these you can see across all the parks wherever you go, just showing just how much water is needed to feed the plants. If desalination plants get hit here, then people will have to leave pretty quickly. Without desalination, this is what the reality is here, a scrubland desert. It's what the Gulf probably looked like before the discovery of oil and gas, what, a century ago. And that discovery absolutely changed this region. It brought in wealth, and that enabled them to build these cities like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, here in Qatar. And they've done that with the help of foreign labour. Only about 10–15% of people here in Qatar are actually from Qatar. It's the same in the UAE, in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi. And the vast majority of people who live here are foreign. They could be construction workers from India, bank managers from the Philippines, architects from the UK. There's also a lot of people from the Middle East, Lebanon, and places like Iran who've come here because they want stability, they want a life away from the conflict in their own country. They see a better, more prosperous future. People here, I think, value that stability over democracy. This isn't a liberal democracy. People know that there's a lack of open politics here, and that's a pact that they make when they come to work here. But what we've seen in the last few weeks is that image of a stable, safe, yes, perhaps undemocratic, but ultimately a functioning society has absolutely been shattered. And this image of a safe Gulf is no longer. This region has been thrust into the spotlight. It doesn't want to be in the spotlight unless it's good news. And regularly I'm getting messages in my phone warning that people need to make sure that they're not spreading any information that's not verified, to check with the authorities, and to report any suspicions if they find that news is being spread. And across the region, authorities have come down hard on people if they've been sharing pictures of missiles and drones. We've seen that especially in the UAE as well. This is a part of the world that values stability and control over anything else, but this war has really pulled that apart.